I'm going to talk about the economy. People who have been researching this Oxford are myself, Chris Becker, Peggy Jenkins, who's not here today, and Jean Paul. So, I'll start with a simple message. We're at the end of the long series of sessions. Droughts do have an economic impact. That's the headline. The question is, what are the trade-offs and what are the choices, and how do those choices affect the impact of droughts on the economy? So one of the first things we had to do was to try to understand the pathways, the feedbacks, the manifestations, if you like, of drought on the economy. We had to capture both the direct and the indirect economic impacts of droughts, recognizing that a single water source can satisfy various demands in the economy. It can be used by firms or industry, it can be used by households, by government, etc., or it can be used for the environment. So a reduction in water availability has a direct impact on all of these activities and users, and critically, it can also have multiple impacts and indirect effects. So a second task really was to understand these interactions and transactions among industries and among activities and how they all feed through to each other. So the first task we had to do was to develop a conceptual framework, an analytical framework that would accommodate all of this. Now this, in the context of Marius, this is particularly important, I think, because many studies of the economic impacts of drought are historical. They're looking backwards, they've got data, they've made choices, you've seen what's happened to different sectors. Here we're looking ahead. We've got these synthetic futures, we have to try and say, if we make these choices, if we have these climate conditions, if we manage water in this way into this sector or to this activity, what could be the impact? So the novelty of Marius, from our point of view, is we're saying, what could happen? What could happen if we make these short-term choices during a drought, and what could happen over the longer term if we invest in various amounts of hydraulic capital, in reservoirs, in interconnection, water grids, demand management measures, etc. So that was the first task, to come up with a conceptual framework. The second task was really to try, having done that, to try and develop a model that would link with all the great work that we heard about this morning, all the hydraulic and climate modelling that has been going on as part of the Marius project. Unfortunately, I think we're almost there. We have been able to establish a link with data from the grid-to-grid model for estimating green water impacts. We've also developed a link, or we are in the process of developing a link with Mohammed's WaterNet model, which will allow us to examine changes at the catchment level. So our hope, and we're doing some dummy runs at the moment, is really to try and estimate impacts across the weather at home baseline, near future, and far future time series data, of which we heard this morning there is a lot of data there. So that was our second task, if you like. What have been the outputs? What will this result in the end? Well, we've done some dummy runs with various scenarios to try and examine the question, what would the economic impact be for a particular region of a particular type of drought, moderate, severe, extreme, and to particular sectors. So this chart here examines, if you like, what the impact will be at a regional level. So this is saying what happens to the different regions of England if we have a particular type of drought, and we see here a range of impacts according to different scenarios. Now I should say these scenarios are management scenarios, so they're scenarios where people who have access to water resources make, say water companies, make about choices. Which sectors get water, which sectors don't. So the first scenario, every sector gets an equiproportionate reduction. The second scenario, agriculture gets preserved. The third scenario, electricity gets preserved. The fourth scenario, we have reductions proportionate to the share of GDP of a particular sector. And the fifth scenario has reductions proportionate to employment. Now, as I say, these are just synthetic results based on scenarios that we can quite link the data. But the key point that you take away from this is that different management decisions across regions can have different impacts. So you can see different management regions across regions. The final chart I'm going to put up now, because we've got 1 minute, is to look at sector results. So our model also allows us to look at, well, what happens to different sectors in the economy. We've got data for 163 subsectors of the economy. We've aggregated them up into 6 sectors here, and what we're trying to be able to look at is what happens under different scenarios to different sectors of the economy in different types of drought conditions. And this too allows us to and allows others potentially to look at different choices. If we make different choices, if we decide to preserve agriculture, for example, in one scenario and in one set of climatic conditions, what will be the impacts on water supply, what will be the impacts on manufacturing, what will be the impacts on mining, etc. So that is it.